All right, hopefully this angle's good. I've had this Caroma D3 for just over a month. I really like it. There's no suspension. It's a very small bike. It's 1000% restricting me from going fast. It tops out at 20 and it feels like an actual cutoff. It's supposed to be 1200 watt peak rear motor here. So we should be able to get at least, I think, 30 miles an hour out of it, maybe 28. And then the battery life claims to be 30 miles, but you guys know how that is when you're actually gunning it. It's more like 10 miles. So today I'm going to put a new controller in it, and I'll walk you guys through this. We're going to put a new controller in it, and then we're going to put a screen here so I can see how fast I'm going, and possibly a new throttle just by preference. I'm going to put a new throttle and some grips on there. And then we'll see how it goes, and we might do an extended battery, but the new controller should be easy, so I'll show you guys how to do that because it should be pretty dang easy and straightforward, and it's something you can do to your own scooter for a few dollars and have it going a lot faster. So we're going to start with that and we'll get into it. Okay, so full disclosures, this is in fact my first time ever doing anything like this, but I saw some dude put a controller in online and I went, that looks easy, I can probably do that. So we're learning as we go. I took these screws out of these brackets so I can get into this compartment here. I just thought it was nice to note it's these brackets that need to come off, and then the screws are actually Loctited from the factory, which is pretty neat. So anyway, I'm gonna take these off, get inside, and see what we need to disconnect and then reconnect. And for anyone freaking out, this is the only thing that you actually need to do this. I bought this stuff. This is a battery splitter, and then I bought a Sur-On throttle because I like the snappier throttle response, and I like the idea of gripping and ripping. So I bought that, and then I bought these. These are not necessary. This is the charger for the secondary battery that I'm going to attempt to mount. Maybe not today. But at least for the controller, you really just need this and this. And then this is the reason that I thought I could do it. It comes with like little directions on where to plug everything in. And also this has a bunch of little color coordinated stuff on it. So I got this. I've got some connectors here and this piece because I'm going to do it nice and make it so hopefully it plugs in here. But yeah, so this is all you need. It's the brushless DC controller and the screen. It's really like the most important things if you're going to do this, and it's not that expensive. Okay, so we are inside of the little box. You literally just lift it and flip it over. Inside the box, the only thing I've done is taken this out. There is clearly no gasket around the edges here, so I'm going to put some silicone on the edges here before I press it shut once we're all done so it can be waterproofed a little bit. First thing we're going to do before we mess with anything always is disconnect our battery. So the battery is disconnected. It looks like in here they just have a 10.4 amp hour 48 volt battery, this is perfect because I'm going to add a bike battery that is 48 volts 20 amp hours. So I'm going to 3x the capacity and hopefully double the speed or almost double the speed. Now it's worth noting some dude named Phil Pro, basically what he is just an online shill because he knows he makes a ton of money if people buy these scooters. He said you pull this out and there'll be a whole bunch of blue wires in here, but there's not a whole mess of blue wires in here. In fact, there's just the one right here. So this is not something that you want to cut. This is going to transfer over to the next controller. There's no magic speed limiter here. At least not a magic speed limiter that I can tell. And the only other reason I say that is because there's not even a speedometer on this device. All right, so I sped through and unplugged the whole thing. The only thing that I think could be potentially a speed limit wire, and you guys are welcome to try this on yours since I'm swapping out the controller anyway to handle 2 batteries and a new speed controller. The only thing that looks like it could be potentially any sort of speed limiting device. There's this one really thin cable right here that is super white and very tiny. This is the only one that looks like it could be any sort of speed limiting device. You can go ahead and check on your own by just unplugging only this cable. I don't think it is a speed limiting device because it plugs into this one here, but I figured that was worth noting. So if you guys take yours all apart and you want to try it, go ahead and just unplug this from this one, leave everything else plugged in and see if it works. We're going to swap this controller anyway because the one that I have is going to be able to handle more power, and I am more likely to be able to use that one. So the other thing that I think you guys will notice is the battery has its little charger thing here to make it charge. The battery on this charges super slowly, so I'm probably going to swap it out for the charging system that came with the upgraded battery when I switch to that, and that'll just swap out right here because it plugs directly into the battery. So with the battery unplugged, with everything else unplugged, I'm going to start wiring this up. And I know it looks really scary to unplug something like this with all these messes of cords, especially when you're not familiar with electronics or anything like that, but I want to state that this has all of the exact same plugs in almost the exact same colors. So there are some differentiations. This is why I said don't cut that blue cord. This is the blue cord from that one that he says to cut. This goes directly into the controller here. It's an essential thing. This is the one that's a slightly different color. And then you'll also notice that all of the cables on this are way thicker than the cables on this one. They're rated for a higher voltage. So I'm going to do that just in case I want to up the voltage in the future to a higher voltage battery or higher voltage system, just kind of future proofing it. And then we will get this all wired in, and I'll show you how to plug the controller in and how to plug everything in. But essentially what you're doing is you're unplugging all this mess of cords, you're setting it aside, and then you're literally just going to, so I can start here, right? You're going to just match up the colors. So green to green, okay. Yellow to yellow, okay. Right, blue to blue, okay. And if they don't have the same connectors, that's also totally fine. What you can do is, and I got the solders here, so you're just going to cut wires and solder them together. All of these that I'm looking at have, it looks like, the right connectors already. So if you get this controller, you are more than likely just going to be good to go. So just an update from this bundle of cables, the little white cable that for some reason was completely separated from all the other cables, it is not a speed limiter because it is going to plug directly into this controller. You will need that white cable. So don't snip it, don't unplug it and think you don't need it. It's definitely from this little batch of cables here. It definitely plugs into this one here. So not a speed limiter of any kind. I think it's just another wire, but you definitely need all that. So I have these all wired up. I just use, it's called solder seal wire connectors because they seal and solder at the same time, and they just need a heat gun, so there's not a bunch of work there. And then I clamped them on, but this is now working in the sense that it's plugged in with the prongs. So, and then all I did was plug it in by lining up the colors of the wires to the holes for the 6 prongs. This makes it easy if I ever need to like swap this controller or change it again. I'm not unplugging a million things. I just have this, and these are all soldered up. Probably E-tape around this so that they stay in a clump. But this is good. And then we'll start plugging this in. Maybe another thing to mention for you guys who are new, this is something I noticed, you aren't using all of the plugs necessarily for your controller, so don't worry about it if you start plugging stuff in and you have some extra cords coming off of this guy that you didn't end up using. We're just gonna get this plugged in, we'll get the rest of these plugged in, and we'll see if it works. For the controller, I had to wire all of these into a 6-prong connector, and then I put the 6-prong connector in here. The 6-prong connector I didn't have to change anything on, but you'll notice with the motor I had to reverse the green and the blue wire. So the blue wire is hooked up to the green motor wire, and the blue motor wire is hooked up to the green motor wire for this controller. That was just possibly due to the fact that I also wired a different controller into it to replace the factory controller with the Suron one, which is right here, which I much prefer. You will see that the settings here on the display, I have it set right now to have 3 speed modes. So speed mode 1, speed mode 2, speed mode 3. Keep in mind your screen's going to not show a speed because it defaults to 50 magnets. So you do have to change that P07 setting to get it working. But here we go. So in speed mode number 1, we'll get up to 8 miles an hour. Speed mode number 2 will take us to factory speed settings, and that is about 18 miles an hour. Hopefully that's showing up. And then speed mode 3 is going to open it up. So speed mode 3 puts us up to about 29 miles an hour, which it does appear to be the max speed at the voltage for the motor and what it's rated for. So 29 miles an hour is what we'll get it up to. You can also change things like the start power of the motor, and like that's how fast it spins up. I have mine set to 4 out of 5, just because I don't need it to be too torquey. And then I'm going to wire the second battery in here with the battery splitter that I actually have sitting right here. This is going to do all the work itself. I just plug this in. There's not really a lot of wiring to show here. You just plug it in instead to the battery controller, and then this controls discharge. So the 20 amp hour and the 10 amp hour will discharge at the same rate. And then I have decided I'm going to mount the battery underneath right here. So I'm going to do that, but first I'm going to put this all back together and test it. Okay, so wrapping up the inside, I was able to get everything in here, no problem. It was a tight squeeze because I actually, since I went with the Sur-On throttle, the throttle cable was not quite long enough, but that's okay because I just ran it out the front instead of wrapping it all the way around the back and trying to go back in. That way I was able to utilize some of the cord from the controller. So that's the only modification I had to make. I had to melt a small hole right there, and I'll seal that with silica. Then I ran the secondary battery for the battery splitter. I ran the cable out right here, just because I actually forgot to purchase extra cable length. So once I purchase extra cable length for that, this will get sealed, and I'll take this all off and put it all back in. But for now, it's exposed right there for the second battery, just for testing to make sure it does in fact function, which it does. For my brake lines and lights, like I said, I have the lights just set to be automatically on all the time, which means I do not need the extra wires here. And I did that just because I hate having 1.5 million wires. So now we're gonna get rid of all of these excess wires, and the ones that we do need here and here will get put on, hopefully give it a much cleaner look. And I'm going to get back to you guys when we're done with that. Alright, so before I put the seat back on here, this is how I mounted the battery to the thing. This is just the AliExpress special. It does have good cells according to the reviews, so I'm trusting that. I literally used hose clamps to mount this, and this is the mount for the battery. So the battery can still be, hopefully I don't drop it here, slid off of the thing for charging. In addition to that, the way that I'm wiring this, since I have the universal drainer going under here, I'm going to run the wire up the side here, and it should be fine. I should be able to charge it either way. If I leave this battery plugged in, I should be able to charge both batteries, which is kind of neat. I think that's very necessary. So the way this is mounted, hopefully you guys can get a good look in there, but I literally just have my 2 mounting points here, and then I have a little like Uncle Bob's, whatever it's called, e-bike battery mount bar here, and that is what the Alibaba battery mount is mounted to. It's kind of cool. I like the way that this works, and it locks on with a key, so it's not at risk of sliding off in any way, shape, or form. I think putting it on this way on the top here makes the bike look a little more factory, and then it lets me maintain this lower storage portion, which is a huge reason on why I wanted it. So we're gonna get this guy here put in, we'll get these solders connected, and we'll be good to go. The only thing I am gonna have to do, looking at my little mount system here, all of these are good. There's plenty of space under the seat except for this front one. I'm just going to do away with this front post, and I will use a Dremel to get rid of this, because I ended up blocking the front post hole with this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws holding this in, so I think 6 is actually plenty. I don't really need this front one. And then I added Loctite to these because these didn't come Loctited. That's it. All right, so we have this all completely closed up. I'll take my little camera off here so you can see. I just used Flex Seal for this, which is they have like caulk in a container, so didn't need a gun or anything. And we went all the way around the outside of the container, so it's easy to remove if we need to remove it for maintenance. And then around this place where I had to put the throttle cable in, so this should be waterproofed. And then I also went around the XT60 connectors just a little bit around there. I didn't get any inside. And then same thing on the back side of this. Solder seal is already sealed, so we're good to go on that. So I did not to tuck this inside of this just because I was lazy and I didn't want to open the box again. The cord, pretty simple, it just runs all the way down and up to here where this is mounted. And then we can take our second battery here, which is pretty big, and we'll just set it on there right here and then just press it back in place and lock it on, and we are good to go. And yeah, I guess it's time to test it. Moment of truth. It looks pretty factory. Let's see if it blows up. We're on, chilling. Screen says 28. All right, well, I guess we'll drive it. And the battery on top here does not hurt it at all. It's funny because it's showing a little bit 1 bar down already. So we'll see if this battery kicks in. If it works, it immediately fixed itself. So we are cruising at 26 miles an hour. This is a nice little comfortable scooter. 25, 26 miles an hour. It feels good. It handles about the same. I mean, you've got noticeably more mass right where the seat is, so it is higher above the wheel. Okay, so far, if I've learned anything, it's that my tires need air. So we'll see if we can find a place to pull off here and take a better look at this, but it seems to be just kind of freaking working. Here we go, place to pull off immediately. Here we go. Boop, 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 boop. All right, so no fire, no flames. It does seem to be running fine. I have my lights set to permanently be on because I told you guys when I was wiring it up, I just think that they could always be on. That's fine. I think it's probably a safe practice with any bike to have as much illumination as possible, especially something as small as this. I scuffed that up when tipping it over. So brake lights always on, and as you can tell, the wiring here goes all the way down, not getting in the way. Seems to be running just fine, and we are still full bars on battery here. So yeah, we've gone officially 1 mile with the new setup. It didn't light on fire, and the only way to really know is to drain it if it's working properly, but it should be working properly. Can't think of anything that would be giving it an issue. The balancer seems to be fine. So to me, this looks factory, and this is basically triple the range of your stock Caroma D3 with 10 increased miles per hour for an extra 150 bucks. So that makes it a $500 scooter, but the range is unmatched. We have 30.4 amp hours, so 30 amp hours of battery versus the 10 from the factory, and this is the long range D3 model. So this is the one that's supposed to have the biggest battery with 30 miles of claimed range. So now we've cranked that up to 3 times that with a 20 amp hour battery in addition to their 10 amp hour battery. It looks completely factory to me. I can now use the charger for this as the charger for the whole thing. So it can charge a lot faster than the stock Caroma because the stock battery charger was kind of doo-doo. Yeah, this is cool. It looks to me extremely factory. It seems to work fine. It's torquier than it has been. And yeah, I guess not much else to do. I guess we'll just ride it. I do need air in my tires though, that's for sure. So my biggest thing that I like about this is the new grips feel really good. The pillow top grips and the Sur-On throttle. I like Sur-On throttles. I think that they are better than thumb throttles or like a push button or a throw lever. So I figured if I'm gonna have a bike, I might as well give it a good Sur-On throttle. As you can tell, it gets up to the 20 miles an hour, which is what we were expecting here. The 20 miles an hour that it was maxed out at was not even close to the thing's max because it gets there almost immediately. The grinding noise that you hear is actually the brake from the front brake rotor because mine's not lined up. Here we go, speed of traffic, no problem. Going 27 miles an hour. No issues stopping behind this person. And we're gonna keep up with traffic this whole trip. Boom, no problem. Zero issues keeping up with traffic, which is pretty amazing because the speed limit on this road is 30 miles an hour. So don't know if the speedometer is perfectly accurate, but it's at least accurate enough. So there you guys go. That is a quick how to make your $350 Caroma D3 better. This brake is driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to fix that next. But yeah, this is really cool. I like that you have the different speed settings, so you can still put it on 2, which is the max speed of 18. So this is factory speed at 2, and then 3 actually cranks it up, and it feels like a real bike the way it should feel. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update after I've done all these upgrades and I've actually ridden the scooter. So I have, as you know, the new and extended battery that is just wired in with a parallel to the other battery, which gives it 30 amp hours total instead of 10, which is what the factory battery is. This is really cool because I can just change it. I do like that. I got the key right here, so pretty simple system. The way I have this set up is you literally just put the key in, and then, oh, I think I just locked it. So you put the key in, and then you can take this off. Additionally to being able to change the battery, this battery has a USB port for charging your devices if you want to, and I can turn that off or on this way. So to hook this back up, it just kind of slides in there like that due to the mount. The mount's been pretty sturdy, very stable, no complaints. I ended up removing this rear fender because I think it looks cooler. That is the only reason. I just think it looks cool, and cool is functional. We'll fire it up. Hopefully you guys can see the dash here. We'll get close to it just to make sure. You'll see I have 27 miles on the dash. Crank it to speed mode 3. 27 miles. So I took this to the airport for 4th of July and let people ride it, and full charge, it lasted 27 miles. We lost one battery peg. So I suspect that with the 30 amp hour battery, I have a true 50-mile range, and that was on an airport back and forth, so almost pinned the entire time. So we'll go ahead and ride this just a little bit more. Hopefully my camera's in place. We'll go ahead and ride this just a little bit more. I really do like this thing. I guess I should put the kickstand up, huh? And we'll give it a rip. I did double check the odometer. The odometer is in fact accurate. Exactly. So we are topping out now at 28 miles an hour, going down a little bit of a hill. It really cruises about 26, 27. It's a nice, comfortable bike to ride. And I could not be happier with how this came out at all. I mean, the range is what I wanted. So I didn't want something light, speed, fast. I don't really need a bike, especially something this small, to go insanely fast. So a nice, 26, 27 miles an hour is pretty comfortable. Man, they are flying on this road. The speed limit is 30, and they are hauling past me, and I'm going 27. So that tells you about how fast traffic goes on this road when there is traffic. All right, so final verdict. I really like it. I hate that it is squeaking right now, but I think that's just unavoidable. Go over a few bumps here. I have had 0 disconnects with the controller. It really does just get up and go to that 26, 27 pretty fast. I do think I could have put a different controller in this to make it go a little bit faster, but the one I have works great. I don't mind 27 miles an hour, like I said, and then I only have a 48 volt battery in this, so I could upgrade the battery voltage as well, but I didn't want to, because like I said, I'm very happy with 26, 27 miles an hour and being able to go a true probably 50 miles minimum on the range. If you guys know anything about batteries, it dropped 1 bar, it was blinking 1 and 2 bars, so it dropped really 1 to 2 bars. The last half of your battery is not actually half the battery because they go by voltage, so it really was probably 35% empty at the dropping 1 or 2. Not 20% empty, because that's just how batteries work. Oh, this guy's gonna cut me off, really cool. So the only downside about riding one of these is that you don't make any noise, so you will get cut off by traffic. But again, we're chilling, we're going a regular speed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to give you guys kind of an update, how I like it now that I have the upgrades done. That I do like it, and that the battery upgrade was well worth it. Controller upgrade was well worth it, and I really liked the pillow top Pro Taper grips that I put on here with the Sur-On throttle. I think that was worth the upgrade. Necessary? Absolutely not. Would I do it again? Yeah, I like it. It makes it feel a lot better to me, especially because I'm pinning the throttle all the time. That lady was just stopped in the middle of the road. What a weird time.